They were running from the vehicle 2 miles away, and it chased them off the road. I'm not saying the dog got away from it.
Right now we are at a neighbor's house, and this is the creek that goes behind his property. He's going to share with us the encounters that him and his wife have had over the last few years, including an incident that happened just last week. When did all your activities start?
It started the first year we were here, and that was 2021, I think. And we moved in March, and it started immediately. Yeah.
Were you aware that they existed when this was going on?
No, I didn't. I hadn't any idea other than I see people's plywood, signs made out of, Bigfoot, and that everybody around has got them, and I was thinking, well, and I've always been a believer, but I didn't.
But you didn't know they were here?
No, I didn't realize that at all. So,
what was the first thing that happened?
I was on my tractor, and up there in the woods behind me, property, the 200 acres next door behind me, and a rock came. Well, first, my wife brought me out a beverage. I'm sitting there and I'm drinking it. She walks away, and all of a sudden this pebble comes flying over, and lands right on top of my tractor and bounces off. It's probably about the size of a marble. And then I'm sitting there and I'm looking up, and I'm seeing there's nothing, no birds. I got a fir tree over here, and all of a sudden here come another one, like 30 seconds later, almost the exact same spot. Bang, and then I'm like this, and then I knew, someone's messing with me or something. So then it was about the same amount of time again. 15 seconds later, come another one, and I just went, okay, thanks. I started, and I just drove off, But yeah, that was the first incident I had here. And then it was that whole year that we were here. It was year round. It didn't stop. I don't know why it was like that, but I documented it all. I wrote everything down, the date, and the month, and the time, and it was all in that whole year, basically. Complete year of it, and hardly had any breaks at all the way down to watching them jump the creek up here. My buddy, he got to see it. He was just here yesterday. He was talking about it then, but yeah, I heard something coming up.
This is your recent encounter, right?
This is the recent one. This is like 2 weeks ago. And I was in the well house. The well's gone down. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm trying to get it up and running. And all of a sudden I hear, splash coming up the creek here from down there. And it probably came up to about right here, in this area right in here before it stopped. And I'm in the well house and I'm thinking, and it's splashing. It sounds big, and I'm sitting in the well house, and I got, I'm just like, I'm sitting duck, and usually I don't get, afraid or anything. I wasn't really afraid, but my hair was standing on the back of my neck, and I said, I'm gonna go up to the house. So I went up to the house, and I let it go at that. But the next day, I brought a friend here, and I said, hey, I want you to walk in that creek, just come up and walk in it. So he did. He came up, and I was in well house, the same spot. He came walking up, and I could hear him, and it was, you could tell it was bipedal, but it was whatever was coming up that night, last night, the night before, it was big. Yeah, it was really big. So it wasn't splashing like this, like noise he was making,
Wow. Does this have fish in it? This creek?
Yeah, they're fishing it right now. You really can't see them till nighttime, but they're the fry from last year, and they're going to get ready as soon as we get high water. They'll leave with the run coming up, I believe, but we get silver run up here. Yeah, and right now the kings are running in the river, less than a mile away, mile and a half away. So I think that's why we're having activity right now, because I know that when they're here. And they're up on the property up there. They're hooting, hollering. I mean, they're having a good time. You can hear them. I mean, it came right out of my shop, and I listened to it for like 10 minutes. Went back in my shop, and you know, and they were talking, you know, but it's like a garble, you know, it's whatever, you know, language they've got. And I came back in, and I had my shop doors open, and I'm working inside. My buddy pulled in, and he didn't come right in, and so I'm waiting, and he finally comes in. He goes, "Hey, Rick," and I go, "What?" And he goes, "Come outside." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "You hear this?" And I go, "Oh yeah, I hear it." He goes, "What is that?" And I go, "Tell me." You know, and he heard the same thing. They were having a good time. They were, you know, they were hollering, they were having fun, and you could tell they were well fed. You know, there were mass fish in the creek. You know, they were, you know, so they're here every year at that time. I know that, and that's why they're here right now. You know, I know that. So this is the best time to come. Just now through like the end of October into the first 2 weeks of November. Yeah, they'll be here for sure. Yeah. And I'm afraid to put out any game cameras because I don't want to.
You'll ruin it.
Yeah.
If you put cameras out, you'll ruin it, trust me.
Exactly right. So I'm going to put the tabs in. Audio. I think that's the weight on the stuff, you know, I'm going to hide it. And play it and see what happens. So back there at the camp spot, there's that old fire. Remember that fire pump that was sitting there that I showed you?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to put one on that, you know, and that would cover that whole area in there, you know. And I know there's a lot of activity in there because that's where we find all the prints all the time. So,
You find prints over on the other side of the property
all the
mostly?
time. Yeah, Lori spots them immediately. She's got an eye for it, you know. But yeah, we found a lot of prints. I mean, we found 20 or 30 so far. And I haven't casted anything, but now I got everything to cast it with, so. But, real quick. And, you know, and she just stopped me right there and she goes, "Really?" She goes, "There's a lot of this."
Wasn't your friend in an RV one time and the
Yeah.
2 young ones came in?
Yeah, that's up the top up there. He was in the RV. We just cleared out that area, and he was here visiting. He was sitting there. He got so much activity that whole time he was here. It was crazy.
How long was he here?
He was here for like a month and a half, and he was heading down south, but he stopped here. He was only going to stay here for like a week or two, and he ended up staying longer than that. But him and his girlfriend, they came in, drove in one evening, like midnight, around there, and they said they saw two. They thought they were bear at first, you know, playing, you know, and they were small, and they're playing with each other. And he said, and he stopped, you know, and he hit the brights, and it's like when he kept pulling in, like they weren't even fazed by it, and then he hit the brights. And then they stopped and looked, and he says, both of them said, "There's 2 baby Sasquatches, about yay big." And he says they were playing right there in the yard, and then they just went bolted. I mean, he says they were there and they were gone that quick. He said they're the fastest thing he ever seen in his life move. And then he came down here one evening. He heard something. He got out of the motorhome. It was late. Heard something. It ran this way here. He was right over to here at the time. He says he watched him. I'll take you over and show you that jump. But he said two adults had jumped the creek, clear to the other side, and that's like probably close to 20 feet down to the creek. So they jumped from that 20, you know, over that 20 feet to the other side. And I said, "Is that even possible?" You know, that's what I asked Jonathan. I said, "Is that even possible?" And he goes, "Well, look at it like this is a professional athlete. What do you think they could do?" And I says, "Yeah, you're probably right. It probably is. Yeah, it's pretty wild." And then he had rocks thrown on top of his motorhome one evening, and he thought it was me messing with him. And he came in the next morning, and he's pissed off. You know, at me. He goes, "What are you doing? What are you screwing with me for?" I go, "What do you mean, throwing rocks in my motorhome?" I go, "Why'd I throw rocks in your motorhome?" And he goes, "Well, come here and look." So we go up there and climb the ladder on top, and here are these rocks about yay big sitting on top, you know, and you could see where they had bounced off and laying around him, but they were throwing rocks at him that night, you know. Yeah, it's crazy. So
Just trying to get a reaction out of it.
that's what they do here. They let you know they're here. You know, that's all they're doing. They're letting us know that, hey, we're here. You know, and I think they're having fun. Really, I really do. You know, it's just like we leave our window. We don't have any curtains on our windows towards the back, you know, at night, you know, and pretty much even into the bedroom, we leave everything open because the windows are open, you know. But you know, they just, I believe that they actually sit out there and watch us. It's like us watching a movie. I think that's what it is for them. I seriously do. It's entertainment, and but they're non-threatening, and at least the ones here have never been any threatened at all. Yeah.
You've never felt threatened by them at all?
No, only time I felt is like when you're by yourself and you know it's late at night, you know, and you're here, you know something's up, you know, and you don't know what it is. That's what, you know.
Like feeling of being watched by them.
Yeah, it's not so much even being watched, but you know they're close, and and I don't know what it is. Probably the scariest thing we had, and it's no fun to hear. It's happened twice. This growl that Lori came outside one night that let the dogs out, and this growl came across the street over there into the woods. I didn't hear it, she heard it, and the dogs came running with their tails between their legs and ran right into the bedroom, into their beds, you know, and just sit there. They were shaking, and Lori says it was so loud, and just a huge growl. I mean, just like, I don't know, she says it's like someone puts concert speakers out there and went to it like this and could growl really good, and you know, just growled as loud as they could into it. And she woke me up. She goes, "You hear that?" And I go, "No, I didn't hear it." You know, she locked the door, shut the lights off, and she just scared her. And so then, like 2 months go by, and a friend of ours here on his Harley, we took it a ride the day before. And he spent the night on the couch. He was leaving the next morning, and we were out there, and it was early. And all of a sudden, the same thing. We heard it again, big old growl. And I knew it was across the street this time. And he looks at me and goes, "That's not normal." And I go, "I know." He goes, "I'm out of here," and he took off. You know, but yeah, that's probably the scariest one thing we've had here is the growl. And then one night, me and my buddy were sitting out here, and we're working on a 4-wheeler for the kids. They were here for dinner, barbecue. And all of a sudden you hear this, and it just carried on for like over a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And then all of a sudden it just goes, "Oh!" And we both looking and go, and that came from over on this side, you know, and go, "What was that?" And I go, "I don't know, but that was no human. There's no way he could have a breath, have that much lung capacity to do that long, you know." But it just all of a sudden, just, whoa, you know. It was crazy, yeah. So it makes you wonder sometimes, you know. I don't know, you know, but I know it wasn't a human that could do that. There's no way.
How many of them have you suspected are around?
I'm thinking that's around here is 4 to 6 is what I believe, because I know there's a family of them here, you know, and just from other sightings we've heard, you know, from people around, like Josie and that, it's like a male, female, and they have like a teenage, older, would be like us, having a teenager, late teenager, you know, and then there's a female, like he has sister, you know, younger, a little younger than him, and by the prints that they find around here, the size of the prints, that all makes sense, you know. But that male that's here is big. And I mean, the print that I got was perfect, and it was 19 inches long. Yeah, 19 inches long. Yeah. That's big. That's a big one. That print was perfect. I wish I would have cast that. That was crazy. But
Did you get a photo of it?
yeah, I got a photo of it, and I got my.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, and I got my foot next to it, you know, but it doesn't do it any. You know,
it's not like seeing it live.
No, because, you know, it's not. Because at the time, you could put your finger in every toe and feel the roundness of every toe perfectly in it when it, you know, the way it sunk into there. I mean, it was if I would have cast it, would have been the perfect print. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have any cast material, and that was one of the first years were, you know, the year we were here that had happened. It was in winter time. There was snow on the ground. It just snowed. Yeah. And you know, I'm finding a scat around that's like good size. And,
wait, what'd you say you're finding?
Scat, you know, and You know, it's I don't know what it is. I don't, you know, I would take it and send it somewhere, but
Where to send it?
yeah,
That's the $1 million
maybe, I don't know,
question.
I'm gonna look into that. Maybe like UW or something like that. That would. He was right here. He was standing right here.
Your friend?
Yeah, and they came from over there, and they came running, and he says they jumped. This line wasn't up here, but they had jumped from here to the other side over there. And what's that, 15, 20 feet down?
It's probably about like where our feet are. It's probably about 11 feet down, but like across. Yeah, you're talking
Across
20 feet.
20?
No,
Yeah.
that's bigger than 11 feet.
Yeah, I
from
think
there.
that's bigger than 11
Yeah,
too. This is a
yeah,
big
yeah,
bank.
I know it
Yeah, I
is,
think
'cause
it's
I'm-
more like 15 to 18.
Yeah, it's about 15 to 18 feet. I'm about to measure that, but yeah. See, and they jumped. He said they jumped, missed the rocks. They jumped right over there when they leaped. And we came down the next day, and down there, and you could see there was indentations into the dirt soil, but there's rock underneath that, so it didn't go that far. But it's hard to tell, you know, the print wise, the way it hit or whatever. But you could see where something heavy was there. But you know, it's hard to say. But, yeah.
Window.
Yeah. Woke up one night and Lori woke me up middle of the night. It's probably like 3:30 in the morning, something like that. And she goes, "What's that smell?" And it just smelled like garbage, wet dog, you know, just bad smell. And our bedroom was just filled with it. And I'm just waking up and trying to get my head together, you know, and think of this. And we always sleep with our window open. It was summertime, you know. We always sleep with our window open, and but the curtains pulled. And I looked at her and I go, "It's a squatch. It's at our window." And I go, "Shh." So we just sat there and we lay there, and we ended up falling back asleep. And so we went out the next morning. Woke up next morning. Of course, there's no smell, you know, nothing there. We walked around the side, and not so much right there because we have really hard clay soil here, so it's hard to make anything out. But when it came through the yard, you could see some indentations, like they were walking that way. It was Squatch right at our window, what it was. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
How often have you heard the talking?
That was the first time that I had witnessed, you know, heard any of the talking going on. Twice I've heard it over there, both times. And it was when the salmon were in.
And you want to tell us about the waterfall that's on the property, the private waterfall that we would go to today if we had time and some machetes.
Yeah, I might give it away.
Yeah.
But yeah, the waterfall, it's really cool.
A private waterfall, huh?
Yeah, it's huge. It's really neat. Well, you know, they say when Mount Rainier blew last time that it blew rocks the size of houses 200 miles away. Well, this waterfall, that'd be one of them rocks. It is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got holes in it where you can sit in it, like two people can sit in just one hole. The water's rushing in, you know, and the hole's like up to here, you know, and it just comes off and it just bends off and just, it's cool, yeah. You can slide right off of it. It's all over our property. I mean, it's right around the house, you know.
Did you tell them about when you were out here and then all of a sudden those coyotes started going nuts?
Oh no, that was last week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was outside here, and this big old screech. I mean, just wow, man! It's like, what is that? And I turned around. It came right from over here, and listen, and I'm going, what the hell is that? And all of a sudden, the coyotes, like there were like 100 of them going off. I mean, it's loud as heck. I mean, I could have been a half mile away and heard them. That's how loud it was. It sounded like it was right here, but it wasn't. It was up in there somewhere. But right after that screech, yeah, and it went on for like 10 minutes.
Well, sometimes 3 coyotes can sound like 12 of them.
Yeah, but I know what. See, I hear them all the time. We got them all over here. You know, we
So
got
do
wolves
we.
here. Believe it or not, people say no, there's no wolves in Washington. Well, you know what? I'm here to tell you differently. There are too. You know, 3 sightings of them right on our road. You know, because we're back with, nothing here but 50 miles of woods to the ocean. That's it. And, 2 highways across. That's it. And Weyerhaeuser, I was told, planted him in here years ago to help with the deer population, because the deer population were eating their seedlings up. And that's what I heard. But one person out of Montana, a friend of mine out of Montana, coming up one night, pacing up the road up here, it was raining, and he said he could see it, and it was shiny, but he says the water, he said the water just ran off him, but he says he was like this, just prancing, looking at him like this right here in this rig, and I said, I slowed down, and I'm looking at him, he's just prancing like this. And he said, I just took off, and he came in and said, hey, I just saw a wolf up the road. And he said, there ain't no wolves around here. He goes, bullshit, I'm from Montana, I know what a wolf is. He goes, and this was a wolf, And he said it was at his window, it was right there. The head, when he was driving, it was at head level with his window. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going. I want to go around that corner over there.